Hello and welcome. I am the Imperishable, and on today's episode, I have the lovely Sam here. He is the Team England chairman, and he's also the Black Country GT tournament organizer. Oh, hello, Sam.
Are you, Bryn? Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. So today's episode, we're gonna have a bit of chat about the Black Country GT, and maybe delve into maybe some questions about Team England and how that's going, kind of there. But the first question I always ask everyone: so why are you into fantasy, and why are you a high elf player? May I ask?
So I got into fantasy way back when I was 10 years old, so going on 20 years ago now. Um, just one day I walked past the Games Workshop. I thought the models looked interesting, went in, and it all started from there. I believe the starter set at the time was Empire and Orcs and Goblins.
That's
So
an old one. That's really old.
yeah,
That one.
so had a go at that, and yeah, fell in love with the Empire, and then started my collection from there. Loved the cannons, loved the artillery, the Hellblasters.
They are
So
good.
yeah, the steam tank. So
Peak
yeah,
for
starting.
Warhammer Fantasy, that isn't it? Ooh,
Yeah,
peak for
yeah.
Warhammer
So
Fantasy.
so started my collection then. Obviously, then went to secondary school, stopped for a bit. Met one of my best mates, Jake, at school. Found out he did it, and obviously he still plays with me now. And then yeah,
That's
we
great to
started back
hear.
up. Yeah,
That's
so we
that's that's
started.
amazing to hear. You don't usually hear
Yeah,
that. That's really
yeah.
cool. I rate that.
Yeah, so yeah, we just met in school. Found out. I think I walked past the shop one day, saw him in there, and I was like, didn't know you did this. And then yeah,
Whoa.
we've been best mates ever since. So yeah, and then yeah, just casual, then just started going to events as part of the Dudley Boys. Technically, I think there's about 12 of us overall, but there's only five of us that play, five, six of us that actually play Old World now. Um, so yeah, we're hosting this for Black Country GT as the Dudley Boys.
Yeah.
Dan will be the main TO. The rest of us do enjoy playing a lot, so we will be playing in the event. But yeah, we've just worked our way through seventh through eighth. When eighth died, we tried AOS for a little bit. We didn't like it. Then we went over and played ninth age for a while. Played ninth age for a number of years. I was able to go to a couple of ETCs myself,
Nice.
and then that slowly got a bit stagnant, got a bit boring, and then we moved across to Lord of the Rings, and then played that for a while, and then Old World came back out, and then we all jumped back on the Old World, and we're all fully invested in it. Um, Regarding High Elf, so as I said, I'm an Empire player through and through. I've always played Empire, but when the Old World edition came out,
You just
um,
like your
I
unkillable dragons. You cheated.
yeah, I played. I played. The final straw was for me was I played an Orcs and Goblins player at an event. Had the triple save Wyvern. I had three cannons of steam tank, and I couldn't take a single wound from that
Oh.
Wyvern. So I decided to put Empire on the shelf and decided to join them and run a triple save dragon of my own.
With a two
So
up ward once per game, whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
Good luck
two
on
of
slaying
those.
that.
Two, yeah,
Two! Oh,
two
you're
of
one of
those.
those. You're one
Yeah,
of those. Christ
yeah,
alive.
two of
Get
those.
the 500 point
So
cap in. Don't let him have it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the 500 points cap does stop it dramatically. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, we'll see how it goes if and when that comes into play.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah,
it shows that you are a dedicated fantasy man through and through. And even when OOS came out, you were like, nah, I'm not having that. Delve into Lord of the
yeah,
Rings, which I've played 2 games with. I've got a lovely fully painted Gondor army above me. But I love it. I think that's really good. But it's good to see you come back into the fold. It's interesting to talk about ETC. That shows obviously your caliber of player. It's because you came, is it third at the Welsh Open? Was it third?
fourth.
You got top forces of fantasy player, did you? Yes.
I
Yeah.
did, yes, I did. Yeah, so my last three events, I've had a fourth, second, and fourth so far, and they've all been 30 plus, 30 plus player event. And how big was the Welsh Open? 50 plus?
I think it
56 was it in
was.
the end?
I think it was less than. I think it was like basically bang on 50, if not like
50.
52,
Okay.
maybe something like that. Well, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really good. So following from that, obviously you've played a lot in your time. You're a top quality player. On the Team England side, you've came back from that obviously with the ETC. You really kind of delved on that. You're now not a player but a chairman. How is that different? And are you liking it? Is there extra what kind of responsibilities? How are you finding it all?
Yeah, so I initially went for chairman because I have a young family. I have a daughter that's just turning 2. So I knew I
That is
wouldn't
young.
be able to commit to the travel and all the tournaments required of the build up to the event. So I thought, how can I get involved? How can I still be involved with the team? How can I have some impact? Um, Use my previous experience, help the team as much as possible. So I decided to put my name forward for the chairman role, and basically it's just making sure that the whole process has been as fair as possible. So
Yeah.
from the initial captaincy applications, making sure everyone was out, making sure the vote, well, everyone was able to apply for it, making sure it was put out far and wide so everyone knew about it. Everyone was able to put their opportunity forward, and then making sure that that process was fair, how that captain was selected. Um, and then off the back of that, the same process for anyone that wanted to be in the team. For me, it's all about
Okay. So
fairness
that.
and
Yeah.
transparency.
Good.
Um,
Very
so,
good on that.
so yes, it might not be ideally. Yes, we want as strong a team as possible, but it might not be the best players. It may be the best people. And I know that was
Yeah.
one of Rich's philosophies, is that he wants to go for best sporting at WTC, which I think is a great thing to do. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I really want to encourage that philosophy. Again, make it as fair as possible. One of the other things I have been involved with is the rankings and masters for this year.
Yeah.
Just how that's been set up again. Try to make that as fair as possible. Put it out to a vote to the wider community, and we've implemented some of the changes and some of the rules, so to speak, on how the community want the Masters and the rankings to be run this year.
Yeah.
It's the first full year, so again, we're open to changes further down the line.
We'll
I
see
may
how it
not be
goes this year. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah. We'll
big
see
changes
how it
overall.
goes. We want as many events to be included as possible. I know there's various comps, various scenarios out there. We want to be all inclusive as possible for this year. If we want to change it next year, I might not be selected as the chairman for next year, so another chairman may come in and change it up completely.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll see how this year goes. The only real part of my role left at the moment, other than supporting the team, supporting the team to WTC, is putting out an application process later in the year for someone to hold the Masters event.
Yeah.
Um, I want as many applications as possible for that. And then again, towards the end of the year, we'll have a vote on the app. I'll put the applications out there, whoever puts forward for to host it. And then again, we'll have a vote on who is successful. We'll probably take something like the top 30, 40 players towards the end of the year, let them vote on it. Just
Yes.
because if we leave it right until the last minute when the Masters cut-off actually is, it might not leave the TO enough time to organise it.
And then for
So I
players
think if we,
themselves as well, to like
yeah,
booking hotels
for
and
maybe
whatnot.
some, yeah, maybe some dropouts, people might not be able to make it, etc., etc. So it could go down to the top 30 players, and I think that's why we've introduced the cap to 24. I know traditionally it's been 16, but with
Yeah.
it being the first year, I think again be as inclusive as possible to everyone out there, and yeah, if we want to cut it down next year, we can cut it down next year. We'll see how the rankings go. Me personally, I'm hoping. I think personally to secure ranking, well, to secure masters this year, you're looking for 490 plus results.
Yeah.
But I've spoken to some people around the community, and they think it will be a lot lower. Um, but we
It's the
shall see.
first one. We'll see it there. As you say, hopefully
Yeah,
next year, once again, there'll be more tournaments going forward, kind of thing. Because as you say, not everyone's out yet. Not every army's out yet. There's still big comps to come. It'll be interesting to see. And obviously, there's this talk about this the old world 1.5, so maybe that could change it up, kind of thing.
yeah.
But we'll have to just wait and see. But that's really great to hear, Sam. It seems obviously you're very much in it, and you've done already a lot of your key jobs that you've done. Team England seems to have a great setup and really good to go. But we're here now to have a chat about the Black Country GT, talk through the pack, and anything kind of different to the Welsh Open or anything that you've added / changed potentially. A big one that we're going to have a look at on Warhol is TMP later. So let's go have a look at this pack then. So here we go. We're going to go through the Black Country comp and have a look at kind of the changes from the Welsh Open, as Sam had worked with Ollie and kind of taken some of his ideas and changed them. One of the big ones, and I will spoil it right now, Chaos Dragon does not score, which is a correct choice, and I'm very happy because I lost my last game because the Dragon scored.
For very good reason.
Stupid Dragon. Well, now the High Elf Dragon technically could be unit strength 10 now with that thing, so you could run. It won't be as good, but you can make it 10 wounds unit strength. So a lot of it, as you'll see, will probably kind of look the same. So going through, obviously it's up in Walsall, so it's really kind of it's kind of that Midlands kind of area. Would you say Midlands, or have I upsetted you by calling it Midlands? Because I know some
well, West Midlands.
Midlands, that's cool. Got to make sure that's all correct. So from Cardiff, that's where I'm coming from. It's only a couple hours drive, so our Cardiff bunch, about 5 or 6 of us, are making our way over there. So we're very looking forward to it. So always, it's 5 games, it's Swiss pairings, and a question, I don't think I can see it here. How do you win it? Is it tournament points or win-loss draw?
So it's tournament points. So yeah, we're very much in favour of the 20-0 system over the win-loss draw system.
Lovely stuff. Because I see both sides to it. Kind of the thing, if I've won all my games, I should win. But Ollie's kind of converted me. Well, I came, I think, top 13 or top 14, and I lost 3 games. Okay, I went 2 and 3, and I beat people who went like 4 and 1 kind of thing. Because obviously the games I lost by a point. I lost 11-9 to Keith, 11-9 to, I believe, Richie as well, because he won the mission, etc. So if it wasn't for that, I would be knocked down and potentially could change it. And I'm a big fan of tournament points, but I see the side for both. I think for one-dayers, win-loss draw isn't a bad thing, but
yeah, for me, it means your losses mean something. Instead of going, I've just lost, it doesn't matter now. Instead of playing, if you know, and if you go up against a bad matchup, you have something to play for. If you know your army has no chance against your opponent's army before you go into the game, you know, instead of auto losing, you've got those 9 points to play for. You might even squeak a draw if you play really well, instead of just going, oh, I've lost, it's now going to cost me the event, so to speak, or going to cost me a high placing. It means you're actually, each game, each point actually matters. And I think that's massive.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's quite good there. And it does incentivize, and it also stops someone just, I'm going to kill one thing of yours and run away. Oh, I win 11-9 every time. Oh, no one else won 5-0. I win. Cheers, mate. It kind of does stop that. Whereas,
it means you have to engage.
Yeah, because I could win 4 games 20-0, and that last game after that guy I lose 11-9. I'm like, well, I've 20-0'd all my opponents. You've killed one thing and ran away and just wasn't playing an interactive game. You win, but I've got 89 tournament points and you've got 55. That's something I will note, and this was a very big surprise. This is probably the cheapest 2-day tournament I've ever been to. It was £35, which I think is really good. Obviously, lunch is included, but you can buy lunch for cheaper than 15 quid probably somewhere over 2 days, because that's what the kind of the Welsh Open was. But on that front, there's 38 at the moment, and there's 6 tickets left.
Correct. So we've sold 38 tickets out of 44. With regards to the cost of the event being £35, we did want to make it as cheap as possible. Just with it being our first event, we wanted to get as many people involved as possible, get feedback from the general community on what they want from their event, and then we'll look to tailor it moving forwards. When we
Yeah.
was first looking to run the event, we put a questionnaire out to the local community, and a lot of people came back and said they'd rather sort their own lunch. So this
Yeah.
is something that we ran with. There's loads of local takeaways, fast food restaurants. There's
McDonald's.
there's Tesco's that's local as well. So there is plenty available, and obviously you can bring your own as well
Yeah.
if you wish to.
Uh,
One of the
yeah.
things I will add on that is obviously there is soft drinks available to on site, but you must bring your own. It isn't available on site, unfortunately.
So it's bring your own drinks. Noted.
It is.
I will get my fourth back
It
after I lose game one. Yes, boy.
is.
Okay, so lovely stuff. Schedule, it's pretty basic. It's the same everywhere. 3 games on day one, 2 games on day 2. A nice kind of finish, if let's say you need to go. Oh, sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulty. So on time selection, it's kind of what you see basically everywhere. It's 2,000 points, no allies. There is a maximum of 4 core, 3 special, and 2 rare. Are you going down the same route as Ollie did? So if, let's say, it was a special but is now in core as well, I can get a +1, so I can get 4? Or is it hard cap at 3?
And no, so we're going. So for instance, the Scout gyrocopters. If you wanted to, you can take 4 in core if it's allowed. I'm not sure if it is, and then 3 in special. So we're going all out.
So if I've got
Yeah,
it in core and I'm allowed to take unlimited and unlimited in special.
yeah. Yeah. So if
Okay.
you're allowed so technically, if they appear in both, you're allowed up
I'm
to
so
7.
glad Richie ain't coming because I don't want to deal with gyro spam again. I killed 18 out of the 19. I was pretty impressed by that. But okay, that's interesting. Okay, so
Map might be bringing it, mate. Map might be bringing it.
that's fine. I got you shabby. It's fine. I take them down. But when they're all singles, and then obviously 2 rare. Cool. This is what happened at the Welsh Open. 8 wizard levels max. So you can split in between. That's what was at the Welsh Open. And as a more cult player, it was annoying, but I could live with it. I think it wasn't too bad. So I was fine with that.
With our practice games that we've had recently with the Dudley boys, we have all been talking, and we do wish we've upped that to 10.
I personally 9. That's what I want.
Yeah.
So just from a cult perspective, going to say
Yeah.
Ollie made this rule up because he played me and hated me. It's just so I can get 2 level 4s and my level 1 BSB personally, because for a cult I can't take a Tomb King on Dragon and a level 4 and then a level 1. I need a level 1 for my BSB. So that's the only thing I wish. And you don't want to change it? No, you don't want to change it to 9?
No. Me and Jake both wanted to run 10 wizard levels, but we're like, no, it's too late to change now.
What do you mean? List submissions on the 18th. That is a key fact. 18th
Yeah,
April
key
is
shout
list
out.
submissions.
Yeah.
So
So
there is
yeah,
time to change.
No, we are going to keep with the 8th. But yeah, key shout out. All lists to be in by midnight Friday the 18th. Using the new recruit link, please. We will want to do the draw, and the draw and release the lists on Monday. So please do make sure that everything is in by the Friday. So myself or one of the other W boys can format all the lists, etc. over the weekend, and then we can go live with the draw Monday evening.
Perfect. Cool. On to painting, and this I will comment on. This is one of the first tournaments that I've gone to by LGT last year that I have to have a fully painted army. I understand, it makes sense. These kind of big GTs, you probably should have fully painted. But as I say, it's only a 3 colour minimum. So that's one of the differences from Welsh Open to this. Because Welsh Open was, if you were fully painted, you didn't lose any tournament points. But I think this is fair. I've got my army painted.
Yeah, for me now, Old World's been out long enough that should have a fully painted army now.
Yeah.
If you are proactively looking to attend events, plus we are, a couple of us are quite big on painting. Dan and Adam both have beautiful painted armies. So in fact, we are quite big on painting. So that's why we've put into painting awards as well, judges'
Nice,
choice
good,
and players' choice. So so yeah, we do want to
lovely
promote
stuff.
that as much as possible.
Okay, the rest of this kind of pack is kind of the same. I'm guessing terrain is just you play what's in front of you, like tough shit basically if you don't like it.
Yes, so we'll be at the event on the Friday evening, setting up each and every board. Each board will have anywhere from 6 to 8 pieces of terrain, depending on how big they are. Um, but but yeah, any queries with it, how any terrain is set up, if you think it's been moved throughout the weekend, just give one of us a shout. We'll all be
Yeah,
in our Dudley Boys t-shirts. Just give one of us a shout and we'll make
lovely
sure it's
stuff.
where it's meant
Cool.
to be.
So on to how to win. It's the 20 system, but you can only get 17 to 3 with just killing your opponent. 3 points are worth if you win the missions, and we're about to get on to those. I'd say Ollie's done this. This is a Ninth Age thing. I think it works really well. I played one of these back in June last year, like the first one, and theirs was a 4 point swing, and I thought that was a bit too much. I like 3. It's not too bad because you can win by 800 points and get a 10-10, or lose by nearly 800 points and get a draw, which I quite like. Onto the missions. This is a bit of a clarified difference. Obviously, unit strength 10 is the scoring thing, and it's your current unit strength 10, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
Lovely
so
stuff.
it's a unit strength at the end of the game.
Perfect. And it's non-character, non-war beast, non-swarms, and non-war machines. So, i.e., a Chaos Dragon cannot claim or hold any objectives. Lovely. This has changed as this game, hasn't it? So if you table your opponent, you don't automatically win the mission. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. There's some of the missions can be, for example, the last mission, you could technically be able to draw on that
Yeah.
mission, whether you get tabled
It's the
afterwards
same with
or
the
not.
general
So
one as well. Yeah.
after, yes, yeah, exactly. So yeah, we have removed that
Lovely
this
stuff.
time.
So, on to the missions. So, 3 of them are objective based, 2 are killing based. Game 1 is basically open battle, but you have to hold the middle. So, this comes to my first question. So, this is a hold the ground. You get it at the end of the game. And you have to have at least a unit strength 10 within the centre. And no enemies with unit strength 10 of the centre. So, you have to be the only thing there, correct?
Correct, yes. So, doesn't matter what your unit strength is, as long as it's over 10, you can climb and contest the centre. One of the big thing that I know as part of the Welsh Open, Ollie did it
Yeah.
progressively. So turn on turn, you would score points. One of the reasons that why we have chosen to do it at the end of the game is generally what we've found in Old World is generally the advantage is to go first. Not all the time, but generally advantage to go first. With the missions being end of game missions, technically the advantage is going
Yes.
second. So we wanted to mix it up a little bit. We wanted to see if people would come with more drops to maybe actively search to go second to improve with the missions, or just go the opposite route and go, I'm gonna go less drops,
Yeah.
go all out for first turn, gonna try and annihilate my opponent and then just
Yeah.
mop up the mission at the
Cool. That's
end.
fine. That was going to be my question. Why end rather than progressive? But you have given your reason, which is completely great. I do have a question that is regard to this going first, and I was going to say it for later, but we've touched on this now. So in the rule book, and this came up in the Welsh Open, someone played it behind, and I didn't believe him, but I haven't. So in the rule book, it does state that if you win the roll off, you get to choose. We always play that you don't, because in all the other missions like open battle, it states that if you win the roll off, you must go first. So my question to you: if I win the roll off, because these are not inbuilt missions and we've made them, do you have to go first?
Me and the other Dudley boys talked about it. We have gone with yes. So if
Okay,
you win the roll off, you will be going first.
cool. I thought I'd best ask that because
We so Matt's interesting. You actually pointed Matt out, Brim, because one of the first events that we went to, as a group over a year ago, we was under the impression that you could roll and then pick if you go first or second, and then we turned up and we rolled, and then our opponents went to us, "Oh no, you win the
yeah.
roll, you have to go first," and we was like, "Oh." And then yeah, it's never been brought back up since. So yeah, very interesting that you brought well, Matt. It is coming back up now.
So it's only because I have always played if you roll, you go first because in all the missions I've played, open battle, flank attack, it's that. And when I was at the Welsh Open, we played that. But then I spoke to Ollie because someone behind me they were chatting about it. And in the rule book, it does say that if you win, you get to choose. But obviously, the missions we play normally, it then says if you win the roll off, you go first. So
First, yeah,
that was a clarification because obviously I might want to be like, oh, actually, on this mission, I want to go second. Oh, I won the roll off. I'm going to choose to go second. Okay, that's good to know. So if you win the roll off, you go first.
first, yeah, yeah,
Brilliant.
agreed.
Cool. So that's game one. So big things about these objectives. It doesn't matter how big I've got of a unit. So I could have unit strength for hundreds. If my opponent has 10 next to it, it's a contested objective.
Correct.
Cool. Scares and all archers have got some work to do.
Well,
Come on.
yeah, and my Reavers.
So, game two, breakthrough. This is once again, it is end of game. It's just how many unit strength units you've got in your opponent's deployment zone. So these long edges. So it's kind of using meeting engagement deployment, but not the silly rule of half my army didn't turn up and all yours did. Great, you win. So it's just get more unit strength 10 units into your opponent's deployment. Pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. Nice and simple. We want to pressure each other. Frontline Clash. So this is a new kind of one that I haven't played, and this is one I need to start practicing. So it is your 24 inches away, you're 6 inches from the side, so you're kind of boxed in deployment. There is an objective in the middle, and then each player gets to deploy an objective, and it has to be a minimum of 12 inches from another.
Correct,
so,
yes.
I know from this image it's very symmetrical, but I could put this objective down here in the corner, correct?
Correct, yes.
Can I place them in terrain?
Yes.
Cool. I just want to make sure. So it's once again the same as a bit of like the hold ground one. It's at the end of the game, unit strength within 6 of it. And no enemies within 6 of it. And obviously, if you hold 2, you win it. If you both hold 1, you draw it, etc.
Yeah, so this one could be really interesting in a number of ways. So, as you said, Bryn, you could pull it in your deployment zone. Well, pull it in your corner, play really defensively, and just play to contest the middle. You could go the exact opposite, pull it in as close to your opponent's deployment zone as possible, and go full force at them, so to speak. So yeah, it can be played a number of ways. Which I think can be really interesting, and it depends what sort of army you wish to play. But generally, I can see it being you protect your own while going for the middle, or it could be you ignore the middle, protect your own, and go for your opponents. Generally, they could just have that one scoring unit hanging back at the back of the board, protecting their own. So you could try and push and capture theirs while protecting your own, and just ignore the middle. But there's lots of variety with this one, which I think it'll be really interesting.
So this is, for me, the Welsh Open, the loot mission, because that, to me, was the hardest one. And this is to me, is going to be the hardest one. The others are hold the centre, run into your opponent's deployment. This one, there is a thought process that you have to do, and you could win or lose it from just deploying your token wrong and being that kind of thing. So I really like this one. This was... because I enjoyed loot, hated it because I lost to Richie, but I enjoyed it, the thought process of it. So day one is all objectives, all these different things. We've already talked about them in the sense of it doesn't matter how much unit strength you've got. If you've got unit strength 10 next to it, your opponent doesn't get it. So this will kind of these skirmishing, fast carve stuff going second. So I might have to look at bringing a second unit skeletons and horse archers to do that. But it's really interesting to say. So on to day 2, game 4 and 5. So game 4, this is it's the awkward deployment one that no one likes setting up, but it is literally kill your general, win the objective. Bog standard,
Yeah,
pretty simple.
nice
Kill
and
the big
simple.
scary thing. Nothing really to
Yeah,
talk about this one.
yeah. The only thing to mention is just for people that haven't played it before, just be wary of the being attacker and defender, just because you're not 24 inches away.
Yeah, these
So
corners
just
you are a lot closer. Yeah.
yeah. So you are 18. I believe you are 18 away. So just be mindful of those first turn dragon charges.
Can happen if you're an idiot and put something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely stuff. Cool. Game 5 is kind of an open deployment, assassination, and this is where another question I've got here. Deployment, open battle, but you are 18 inches away from each other, so it's you're very close to each other. This one now is assassination. So unlike kill the general, this is kill a you hide. Sorry.
Yeah. So this scenario, we sort of copied from a Lord of the Rings scenario. So basically, it's keep it. The idea is to keep your secondary character alive. So,
Yeah.
most armies you'll have that main wizard, that main
Your
fighty
Chaos Lord and your
character.
Sorcerer Lord. Brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Um, so, so yeah, you'll have that main character or two. So the idea is, yeah, instead of protecting your general, you're trying to protect that secondary character or that tertiary character if you're able to fit a third or possibly a fourth one in if you're maxing out characters. And then this is where you can be quite tricky with it. Is it if you do have 4 characters, if you run an army where you can have loads of cheap characters, you can be very tactical on which character you're trying to hide and
Yeah,
which character you're trying to protect, so to speak.
because this I'm just thinking. So Richie at the Welsh Open on the general one, he made his little engineer general 55 points. He just hit it in the corner. You ain't getting it. He just ran around with it. But in this one, once again, you could bring in a cheap character to just be this, or as a fake ruse for it, and like hide it in the corner, and be like, "That's the one I've got to go for." So they put effort in, and be like, "Well, it wasn't that one. It was this guy here. It was quite near the front, etc."
Yeah.
So I like this one. Once again, it makes you think, and it's making you think in the list building phase, which is really interesting. So I do have a question about this, and this has got brought up when we were chatting about it the other day. There's 2 parts to this. So one, can the Green Knight be your assassination target? So because I choose, so I'm going to choose. Like if I was playing Brett's, I'm going to choose my Green Knight to be my secret assassination. Can I do it? Can I choose him?
So yes, you can do it, but I'll get my words out in a minute, mate. He only has to be killed once for it to count, though. So yes, he can be selected, but as soon as he dies once, he counts as dead for the purpose of the scenario.
Cool. My second point here is, what happens if I choose a character that has ambush and he doesn't and there's no way my opponent could potentially kill him because they could hide it, or if there's ones that can affect the roll, like let's say Toothnick for Orcs and Goblins, and I'm going to make sure he doesn't come in until he has to. Can you still select those characters?
So yes, and it's a valid tactic if you want to tailor your list to do that.
Cool, brilliant. This is what we were talking about. We were trying to think, well, Green Knight's going to be a really tough one because they can choose to bring it in, and they'll just bring it into the last turn that they have to. I need to check on the Green Knight, because what happens if you can choose to not bring them in until the last turn and then I go second? Is that still a valid tactic?
Yeah, still a valid tactic. Yeah, still a valid tactic. For me, yeah, keep your Green Knight off the board.
I just got to keep mine alive at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Let's say we discussed this, and this was one of the missions we were thinking. There's a couple ways you can cheese this, but let's just clear it up. But there we had it first. So you can choose anything. You can even choose Green Knight if you hate everyone else. Lovely stuff. So those are our 5 missions, 3 objectives, 2 kills. Now let's go into the house rules. And the first house rule that we're going to have a look at, and it's the slight difference, and I will ask about this because I'm curious. So single model unit or character, or units in this, they need to be below 25% of their starting strength. So for characters, it's their wounds. So if I got Chaos Lord, I need to get down to 2 wounds to give up points. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
So this is different
to be
from the Welsh
clear,
Open.
it's 25% or less. So it's not. I know generally, apart from characters, it's less than 25%, but we're doing everything 25% or less. You get half the victory points.
Okay, I've got to ask this question because we were, once again, we're theory crafting on certain lists. So obviously, this is different to the Welsh Open because Welsh Open it would have to be less than half of. So if I did 5 wounds to Chaos Dragon, I get half its points.
Yeah.
This is going to make certain characters even harder to get any points from. So, Mister, I've got an unkillable high elf dragon. Cough cough. But then it's also looking at stuff that comes in units of 3. So dragon ogres, you come in units of 3. You don't get any points unless you kill them. What was your kind of decision here? Because I quite enjoyed the 50% because I thought it did mean I can't just chuck things away.
Yeah, so for us, we wanted to make sure that if you are getting the points for them, you are having to put a substantial amount of effort into doing so. For me, yes, the 3s of Dragon Ogres, yes, you have to kill them all. But the 4s now, you only have to get them down to 1. For me, for unkillable dragons and so on and so forth. For me, it is quite, I say easy, but you can get to half points fairly comfortable. Well, half wounds on a dragon fairly comfortable. It is finishing off the dragon that becomes the problem. So for us, we wanted to just go flat out 25%. If 25% on everything, we think that's a good balance. Whether we come to the event and we prove wrong, time will tell. But yeah, we just wanted to go flat out 25% across the board and see how that played out.
Yep, fine. As I say, you're the event organizer. You can trial things. We're kind of in this early stage of comp and seeing different things and helping different things. So it's going to be different. It's good to see. My only suggestion is maybe on the next one, we'll see how it goes, and I would probably say it to Ollie, is if you get them down to 50%, you get 25% because it's still that.
Yeah.
Because that you can make these unkillable dragons that, as a player, I could. Well, you've got no monster slaying. I've got 10 wounds. I'm pretty tanky because I got a triple save. Just go play with the dragon. You've got to You've got to do 8 wounds to get any points. Yeah, good luck with that kind of thing. Yeah. And I just thought maybe, and this is just off the whim here, that going forward you go, you get some points if you kill half of them. Maybe not 50%. Because that is probably quite drastic, but maybe just a little consolation prize of, here's 25% of the points. It's only going to be off your dragons, 125 points, so it's not massive, but I'm like, at least I got something out of it.
Something, yeah. I think that's a good middle ground, to be honest, Bryn. I think that may work really well. 50 for 25, 25 for 50. So, yeah, I think that's a really good middle ground for us to consider and for any other TOs out there to consider also.
Because, as I say, I do semi-agree that if I get 50 points, 50% of the points for 50% of the damage, I can potentially, if it's a big scoring piece, like a 600-point Chaos Dragon, I'm like, I got 300-something points, I just leave it now, I don't have to worry about it, kind of thing. But, yeah, but as I say, I might, in my games, track if I get anything down to 50 and see what kind of differences it could be. Could it be interesting to see, or kind of the difference of this and the Welsh Open? But I'd say we're trying different things. The comps are going to change. This probably changes to the next Black Country, and we'll just see when we get there. The rest of this seems very the same in the sense of can't be more than 10 wide if you're a range unit. Ooh, that's different. So if I have no range weapons, I can go wider.
Correct, yeah. We didn't want to... Yeah, we didn't want to completely stop line hammer, shall we say. but we wanted to nerf slightly the Gobbo Star, the Tomb King Poison Star.
Whoa, leave the poison alone. Yeah, no.
So
Yes.
yeah, Matt was our thought process behind that. Um, realistically now, it's probably something that I wouldn't necessarily put back in, because there isn't that much out there, and for people that are running those lists, if they're willing to paint that many models, run that big of a unit, then we should let them. So yeah,
I don't, yeah. Because I'm running
it's
mine,
one
and
of
I
those.
don't mind 10 wides. I think it's all right.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of it. We just didn't want to, again, for as I mentioned before, it's we want to think about newcomers to the scene. Experienced tournament players, they're going to expect these type of lists to pop
These
up. You
dickheads,
don't,
yeah. God.
yeah, you don't want your first tournament experience to be against the Team King Death Star with chariots in the
Three
archer
chariot
unit.
captures in there. It's like
20
20
wide.
wide.
Yeah, and you're not getting any points. You're gonna have a real fun game. Yeah,
Well, this is what you
if
should
you're a
make. Yeah.
tournament player, you're gonna expect to come across that list every so often. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, for newcomers, it's not the greatest experience. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's our thought process as to why we wanted that in there. But yeah, for rest is generally the same as Ollie's. The monstrous cap, the green knight cap, and just for clarity, for the how the green knight can enter the battlefield as well. Um,
Yeah. It's just
for
hills and water
I was
features.
definitely involved with some arguments, shall we say, off the back of the LGT about where the Green Knight was appearing from. So I'm glad the general consensus does follow my thought process. So
So on that, because I was at LGT, and because I was very anti it for the hills anyway. Because
yeah,
I found out
agreed.
after this submission, and I would have changed slightly miss. It wouldn't have mattered. I only played Brett's once, and the Green Knight just came out of the woods anyway. But for me, because everyone talks about, if he's not coming out of a hill, you find him coming out of vortexes, and I'm like, I go yes on vortexes because it says they're difficult terrain, and in the book it says he can come out of difficult terrain. But I see why you don't, because he's the only thing that can hurt him. So why does it? And this is why Ollie's thing, magic's the only thing that hurts him. Understandable. But when someone came back that as my comeback, I was like, yeah, it's in the rules, mate. I'm fine with that. Hills
Yeah.
isn't. It literally says it. But I'm
It's,
all for this.
it specifically says hills are classed as open ground.
Yes.
So
That was my big thing. But well, end of that. But yeah, it's good to see and say that's the same as that. Okay. The only other thing I think I've got, as I'm looking on my list of questions, is the scout thing. So this is changed, and you've done this called dealing with the FAQ, where it
yeah,
does affect the drops. But my question to you, because I've heard one or two others, and in a community FAQ or the square-based FAQ, I kind of know which one it was that scouts just count as a drop, and not that if I drop my scouts, I give up the +1. How is it working here? So I'll give you the scenario just to get
yeah,
out. So I've got
yeah,
4 drops. Ooh, where's my camera? And 1 scout. So in total, that's
yeah.
5 drops. My opponent has 7 drops. Who goes first? And I'm scouting them. Who gets the +1?
So we're going as per the FAQ, and he'll be the person with the 7 drops.
Cool. So if I scout and use them as scout, I give up the +1.
Yes,
Unless my
correct.
opponent also has scouts. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the way I can potentially ruse it if I want to get that turn 2. I can use my scout. But that's interesting to know. As I said, people have done it either way, and I can see reasons why. That's fine. My
Yeah,
next question.
I'm sorry. We initially wasn't a fan when that FAQ came out. We wasn't a fan of it. Why? Scouts have never counted towards
Wrong choice,
first
mate.
turn.
Wrong choice. Yeah.
Yeah, but but for more and more I've played the game, for more and more I feel if that's how GW intended it, that's how we should play it.
Yeah.
Yes, we've put in a comp and some scenarios, but there are certain things where I think if that's the way they want us to play the game, then we should play it. So yeah, we're going by the FAQ. If you have any scouts, you give up your +1. But if you both have scouts, then obviously it's same as normal. First person to finish deploying those scouts still gets that +1.
Perfect. On scouts and ambushes here, because I don't really know it says that. When do you declare scouts and ambushes? And do they count as drops when you declare them? Because I've always played them as, because I came from a 40k background of, these are going as scout and ambush, I'm going to put them to the side, and then I play on my drops.
Yes, so before you roll for deployment, deployment side, declare what scouts and ambushing.
Perfect, cool. That's how I've always played it, because I come from a
Yeah.
40k reserves thing, and that just makes sense to me, and I don't want to cheese it or kind of, because technically on the ambushes it doesn't state anywhere, they just can be put in reserve, it doesn't
Yeah,
say when.
for me, it should be part of the general conversation before you
How many drops you
roll for
got?
side. Yeah, first thing, but before you decide how many drops do you have, what's scouting, what's ambushing.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Lovely stuff. So those are all my kind of main questions, etc. Oh, there was something. FAQ. Are we using a community one or not, or is
Uh,
it more kind
so
of thing?
we'll
Just
be
curious.
using the most up to date GW one, but
Yeah.
there's a couple of things that we want to clarify. So the stupidity one, if you fail your stupidity, you've got to go your full movement value, not your
Yeah.
march value, just your movement value.
Yep.
Um, the other one, so TMP, we're doing wholly within, which we'll come to shortly. What else have we got? Shooting. So shooting at large targets will be as per the FAQ. Everyone can see a large target. Everyone can shoot it. Now there's been a couple of discrepancies with that, so we just wanted to clarify. Cannons. You can't shoot through hills or woods. Hills or woods. You must be able to see the unit, so to speak, of what you want to aim at.
Yeah.
Um, because
So if my
there's nothing
casket's
worse.
behind the hill, it can't be hit by a
It
cannon
can't
at
be
all.
hit. Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Good
Correct.
to know.
What else have we got? There's a couple of Bretonian specific ones. So for doppelganger from the prophetess, who's used, is it the lady for lady rule? I'm not
Yeah.
sure specific what the rule is, but which allows
The
her
one I
to
can hide at
retreat.
the back.
Yeah, but when she can hide at the back, we are allowing doppelganger from the back.
Yep.
For me, that rule's meant there to be used like that. So
100%. I don't see
yeah.
why you wouldn't use it otherwise.
And then the only other one that we've had from questions that have come in is regarding another Bretonian one, which is 2 seconds. Is regarding the magic armor, the Iron Shield. Basically, it it gives a hit back on a strength 3 AP1, but if the character has the virtue of heroism, does it get to use Killing Blow or Monster Slayer? We've ruled that as a no, it can't.
Good, correct. That is correct. It is the item. It's not, I'm not making an attack. The
Yeah.
item is making the attack. It's the same reason why bound spells can't get affected
Yeah.
by magic items or other things, because it can't. And that's been ruled via the Hag Tree Fetish as a precedence on that. Very good. How that got
But
away, I'm sorry.
but
I think
yeah, if
that's
anyone does have any other FAQ questions or anything like that, please do let me know, and we'll make sure they're all addressed before the event.
lovely stuff. So, Sam's already mentioned it. We've got one final thing before we wrap up and kind of give our final thoughts and how we feel this is going to go. We are going to go jump into Warhol to have a look at kind of the TMP and what we mean by what we can do. Sam, you got something to say about that?
Yes, so I am proud to say that we do have two main sponsors for our event. The first one being Warhol. So Warhol has sponsored us. They have provided us with 10 1 month free memberships to give out to attendees. So we're going to give 5 away from as prizes. whether that's first, second, third, best sports, wooden spoon, whatever it may be. We haven't decided yet. And then what we're going to do with the other 5 is give away them as spot prizes for each round. So if anyone has any ideas for anything for a spot prize for each round, please drop me a message, give me a shout. For example, it could be round 1, first wizard to miscast, for instance, something along
Yeah,
those lines. If anyone's got any ideas, please give me or one of the other Dudley boys a shout. We'd love to get that incorporated, and then if no one wins one of those spot prizes, we'll just then incorporate them into the prizes at the end. Um,
lovely.
so we'll go, and I think that's a great sponsorship to have. Um, it's a really useful tool, as you'll see in a minute. So, yeah, really excited to have them on board. And secondly, what I've discovered, well, which I found out today, we have got Green Stuff World on board as well as a secondary sponsor. They're giving us a 10% discount code for each player to use
Ooh,
after the event. So that's
lovely.
really exciting as well. So yeah, two really good sponsorships, which hopefully everyone will be able to use and get on board with. So yeah,
Great, that's fantastic. It's always great to see these big events getting kind of good play, like prize support. It's always nice to have as extra. But let's jump into Warhol and let's have a look at what we mean by this TMP. So here we are. We are on Warhol. I've got kind of 3 scenarios I want to go through, and don't look at this. This isn't my list, I promise. But it's just talking about what we mean the changes, because currently in the edition, if I go to here, TMPs are allowed to drop anything within 12. So if I do this, I can technically drop this unit all the way over here. And I could spin myself around and make myself a bit kind of different. What is the major change, would you say then, Sam, what you're using?
yeah. So we're trying to make sure that TMP isn't abused. Again, it's more for the newer players that are coming onto the scene. Um, for us, an experienced player can really abuse TMP and take advantage of it. So we've tried to not nerf it, but try and use it as fairly as possible. So the change we've made is everyone, the whole unit has to be within 12 inches. So as Bryn has got here on show, easiest way to do this is put a 12-inch circle around the unit, and that unit then can be put anywhere within that unit. You're teleporting, so you can change your facing, change your formation, and so on and so forth.
Ooh.
But you have to, well, not change your formation.
Ah.
Yeah,
Oh, I was about to
yeah.
start
So
like moving my
yeah,
wizards about and
apologies.
go like,
So yeah,
oh, don't do that
um,
to me. Alright.
yeah,
Change facing,
basically,
but not
yeah, change
formation,
your
yeah.
facing, not formation, should I have said. So yeah, so basically, whole unit has to be within that 12-inch bubble.
So just on screen say this is fine, I'm holding within, even though I'm turning around, I can move it all the way over here, etc. But if any part of my unit goes out, I cannot put myself there. So it's that big thing. Think of a 12-inch bubble around your unit, and you can jump about to any of those.
It,
Uh,
it's to avoid how many men are in that men are in that unit? 50.
50, 50.
So if Bryn, if you just change that to one lung line of 50,
Uh,
yeah,
like
admittedly
this.
50 is probably a bit much. Um,
But you can do something silly along the lines of, even though it won't
yeah,
fit, but the idea of, let's say this board, I could do like this. I could tow it, and I am within 12 of this unit, so I can deploy there. Obviously not 50,
yeah,
but if you go something like that, it's to
yeah,
stop that. And we're all waiting for GW to just change it to wholly within, because we know that this is stupid. It is stupid.
yeah. It's the stop. I'm saying I'll run sister. I'll run a sister star with high L's, and you can effectively move all the way across the board with a
Yeah.
unit that's 40-50 lung. I know goblins are able to throw fanatics right across the board. and it just can be abused. Then it's just not a good experience, shall we say?
No.
So, yeah, I think wholly within is the most sensible option.
Yeah, so moving away from form units, they're pretty simple. If it's a skirmisher, once again, we're not cheating and being like, oh, the whole unit's 12 inches is here. I'm not going to move this unit 12 inches like that. For skirmishers, it is on a model per model basis, correct? But then they have to end
Yes,
within
correct.
cohesion.
So no model can move more than 12 inches. So in effect, if you put a 12-inch circle on the farthest man, and a 12-inch circle on the other side, then match your bubble. So so you can effectively just move 12 to the left-hand side.
So, so the
Yeah.
big thing is this model here can only go. Well, let me see if I can't.
I don't believe you can do it on
But
skirmishers.
let's say it's this guy. So this guy can only, if you imagine it's this player, can only go up to the edge of this circle, and likewise
Yeah,
this model cannot go all the way over here because that would be
yeah.
stupid and ridiculous. But that's the kind of change. It's that wholly within. It's quite simple understanding, but for skirmishers, it's one per model kind of thing. So 12 inches per model. But have to
Yes,
end within
correct.
cohesion. Yeah. Cool. I think that's really good to kind of clear up because I was reading like this. I was like, okay, for this big unit, if it's 12 inches of that, I've got to try and measure 12 inches from this guy to here. And then I've got to make sure this guy isn't 12. But I think it's quite a good one, this wholly within 12. And as I said, I think we're just waiting for GW to say that. But we all don't want to do it because, you know, you can jump about with a really cool poison block, which is definitely meant to be in the game.
Agreed.
So that is the Black Country GT and a great interview with Sam, talking not just about the Black Country, but also a bit of Team England. I'm really excited for this. I've already got a rough change and some of the missions. I think even now, just the understanding, I'm going to have to add in some more skeleton horse archers just to make sure I can contest those objectives. But overall, I think it's really great and I'm really looking forward to it. 40 odd players. Let's hope we can get those extra two and probably try and make it a sellout. Would be really good. Any last things from you, Sam? Anything about prizes or just in general?
Yeah, so just want to let everyone know we have sold 38 of 44 tickets so far, so there are 6 tickets left if anyone is interested. We think we have done really well considering the other events on over the weekend.
Yeah.
That weekend should be a fantastic weekend for Old World. We've sold close to 40 tickets. TSN Arena's got a team event with 24 players on, and Warhammer World has got a big event on there, which will end up having 50 odd players plus as well, I imagine. So should be a great weekend for Old
Yeah.
World. If we're successful, which hopefully we will be looking to run another event later in the year, which hopefully will be another
Nice.
sellout.
Good.
We're looking possibly around September time at the moment. Just as a general date, but all being well, if we're successful, that will be the plan. We do have a lot of prize support. We've got first, second, and third, most sporting, wood and spoon, and then 2 prizes for painting. Each award will get some form of gift voucher, as well as possibly a wall haul support as well.
Yeah.
And then we will have some Black Country surprises on offer as well. Just some good old Black Country snacks that will be put out for people to enjoy as well, and as possible prizes. Also, all being well, each player, as long as we can get it all sorted in time, each player will be receiving a Black Country GT arc as well. So
That'd be
I know
good.
generally events do dice and things like that. With thought, instead of going dice, let's do something different. I know
No, I like
majority of
that.
people may already have an arc, but it's another one we're able to use, commemorate the event, first Black Country GT. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thank you for having me on, Bryn. It's been
No, thank you, Sam.
great.
Yeah, it's been great. But no, I'd say I'm looking forward to this. As I say, if you want to get tickets, I'll put the link down below for the Facebook, and then all the information's there. I'll also put the mission pack as well as the new recruit. So if you want to kind of follow along, it will all be there. I'm very much just waiting for lists to be released, just so I can do another one and see what filk's been brought and what fun lists that are there and see how it all goes. But no, thank you very much, Sam, and I will probably see you, well, in April.
Yeah, cheers, Bryn. See you there, mate.
Ta-ra!